Welcome, welcome everybody. Hope you guys are well. So thank you guys for joining me in this mini course. This is something new that I have been doing that I did previously and I wanted to start again. I know we have a lot of new people looking to create their own brand, and sometimes it's, information scattered everywhere. So I thought I would take you guys on little short mini courses every day for the next few days on how to start your first line. So if you missed today's class, you can always go back and record it or watch the recording, but we're going to go over this journey over the next few days. So just pay attention. So if I do skincare one day and you're doing a hair care, still pay attention. There'll be little nuggets that you can learn. So before I get started, my name is Melody Bockelman. I am the founder of Private Label Insider. I am a beauty business entrepreneur, coach, mentor, and we own a development agency. I have been in this industry for 14 years developing brands. I help entrepreneurs from all over the world. Currently, we're working with people in the UK and Africa and where is she? Singapore, all over. And it's so much fun. Sweden, I help people who are looking to create their first skincare, hair care, or makeup brand and just don't know the process of it. So today, I'm going to teach you all that you need to know on how you can actually start and where you actually start when you're looking to start your first line, because a lot of times we want to start with a skincare line and a hair care line, and we're all scattered all over the place. And oftentimes, once we get into the development process, we learn that it's actually a lot of work to create a brand. And one thing that I hear often to my clients that have already done a line is they say, I wish I would have started with just one product, right? Or I wish I would have started with less. So I'm going to teach you today how you can decide what type of product to start with, where you're going to sell your product, and create a roadmap so that when you're going through the development process and then even into your launching and sales and marketing, that it all makes sense. Again, you can go back and watch this recording. There's going to be slides so that it's like a legit course that you can take over and over again and watch this if you miss it or you have to hop off, okay? All right, so let's get in there. Let's see who is on with me today. All right, we got quite a few people. Good. Let me know if you can see my slides. Hold on just one second. All right, can you guys see that slide? Deciding on what type of product to create. Can I get a yes? Thank you. All right, good. Looks like we can see the slides. Hey, Rosalind. Hi. Can you guys let me know if you can see that first slide? I see it on my screen, but I want to make sure you guys can see it. Okay, thank you. All right, so today we're going to talk about what do you do when you're trying to decide on what type of product to start, right? Because that's always like the beginning, right? We have to narrow down. And what happens is that maybe we have a lot of interest. Maybe we're really into skincare, hair care, and makeup, and maybe body care. Or maybe we have a product that we think can do like double duty or those sorts of things. But the problem is that once you get into there, especially if you're making your own product, it can be overwhelming. So we're going to learn how to narrow that down, okay? So actually, the way that you start with is kind of a simple way to do it, and people overestimate it, but it's really starting with your customers in mind first. And this is something that's really important, is deciding on who are you serving in the marketplace, right? So we can't be all things to all people, nor do we need to be. We just need to really understand who our customer is. And one thing that I say a lot, and you'll hear me say this a lot today in this course, is you need to find your marketplace and serve them well. And that is the biggest thing. Find your marketplace and serve them well. Also, you need to narrow down your product selection. So oftentimes I will get people that want to do a women's skincare line, a men's skincare line, a skincare line for babies, and a hair care line. You've got to narrow that down. There's no shame in launching one or two lines or one or two SKUs even in those lines. And I'm going to teach you guys how people are doing that in today's marketplace. And then we're going to talk to you also about the 3 different ways that you can create a product and get those to market. And then we have some homework, right? Because this is a course. I want you to make your launch plan, and I'm going to show you how to do it. All right, so let's start at the beginning. Who are you serving, right? So when Fenty came on the marketplace, it was like the entire industry pivoted. It's like she made the entire industry shift. And the reason that she made them shift is that she figured out who she was serving. She was serving the women that felt like they were left out, right? So her whole brand story was inclusive. And that's kind of what I want you guys to think about. Who am I serving? A lot of times I'll hear, I want to start a skincare line and I want to do it for everybody, for women 25 to 50 years old. Well, I'm 40. My skin is very different than when I was 20 years old, right? Or very different than my 25-year-old niece, right? It's very different. And so you have to get really narrowed down as to who you're serving. Even in hair care, a lot of times people will be like, I want to do a hairline for everyone. that's fine, but you've got to have that everyone when budget, right? So if you don't have that budget, you've got to really understand, who am I serving? How's my product going to get to them? And how do I niche down, right? I'm a really, really firm believer in going deep instead of wide. You want to look at, so how do you figure this out? You want to look at a couple things. You want to look at larger brands. So thank God for the internet. The internet has has leveled the playing field for entrepreneurs, right? It has said to everybody that is making their products at home that you have a chance. And the reason you have a chance is because the big boys are actually watching small boys, like small players like us, because you guys are able to interact with your customers in a much more efficient manner. You're more nimble, you have your ear to the ground, you're able to hear what your customers really want, and you're able to serve them better. So, but the first step in that is looking at your competitors. You want to know, what are the big boys doing, right? What are the feedbacks? What are the trends that they're bringing out? What are their customers saying about their brand? Where are the opportunities? So whenever I start to build a brand, the first thing I look at is the competitors. And I don't look at it from like, I want to steal their ideas. I look at it to hear where the opportunities are. And the internet has provided a platform so that we don't have to do focus groups any longer. We can go out and say, gosh, you know, so-and-so brand has a lot of great reviews, but the common complaint that they have is that their packaging is too small. Or their common complaint that they have is that the customer prefers tubes versus glass. And by time that brand owner, especially a big brand owner, figures that out, or even slows down enough to pay attention, you as a small indie brand would be able to come out and service that marketplace. So looking at your competitors has a really, really great way to help you build a stronger foundation. It also does another thing. It also helps you figure out where your consumers and your clients shopping. Right? So I say this all the time, marketplace sets of values. So if you're looking at competitors and they primarily sell strictly on Instagram, and they also sell on Amazon, or they sell on other retailers, that kind of gives you an idea of the price point of where your customers shop and really which platform you should be on as a brand owner. So again, it's very important that you understand where your competitors are, what their customers are saying, and then build a brand that's around that, right? Find that niche. That's exactly what Venti did. Venti went and said, hey, these people, they are being underserved. We're going to do it. Now, if you look at the graphic that I have up, that's HD Forever. HD Forever actually already had all of those colors, but what they didn't do is they didn't market to them. And that's where the opportunities come in, and that's where we start when we're looking at building a brand. All right. My fancy slides. I'll move forward with it. All right, so let's talk about narrowing down your product selection. So once we've evaluated our brands, once we've evaluated the competition, we need to talk about our marketplace, right? So if you're selling on Amazon versus selling on Instagram, the platform is going to be very different. There is absolutely on Amazon kind of an ideal price range, right? But on Instagram, price is relative. It depends on your market and who's on your audience and those sorts of things. So that's why it's important to start and understand, where are you selling, and then you can narrow down your product offering. So again, I said, you'll hear me say this a lot, marketplace sets the value. So if your marketplace is selling on let's say Instagram, and it's a mask, as is the example that I have up here. Let's say we're a mask, and all your competitors are selling your mask at, you know, a 2 ounce or a 2.5 ounce fill, but no one's really doing it at 4 ounce, no one's really doing it at 8 ounce. There's a reason for that. And so what you will want to do as a new brand, you'll want to come in actually right in line with them. I don't believe in supersizing a brand, and I don't believe in doing under that unless it's got like some super secret amazing ingredients, but most of them are similar. You really want to come in and understand, okay, most consumers are used to spending, you know, $40 on a 2 ounce mask. So I'm going to come in around that price range. And this is a step that a lot of people, they don't think about, because they'll go in and they'll have this idea of, I want to do a mask, but I want to put it in like a really neat roll-on tube, but they don't really think, well, the consumer doesn't know how to use it. So now you have to educate the consumer on how to use your packaging. And there may be some packaging issues with that roll-on tube. That's why nobody has done it yet. Again, studying your marketplace and understanding how you can serve them better and what the consumers are already used for will allow you to be able to build a brand better. Okay, so we're looking at a couple of things. We're looking at our expectations on pricing when we're trying to narrow down a brand, and then also the packaging. And again, remember the golden rule: marketplace sets the value. see. So how many products do you want to start with? You can see I'm on a mask kick. I'm on a mask because masks are a really hot category right now. But marketplace sets value. How many products do you want to start with? One thing that we hear consistently and over again is that I've got to start with, a lot of products. I need to start with 3 to 5 different products, or I need to start with, even 5 to 7 different products. If I'm doing a skincare line, I need to do a cleanser, a toner, a serum, a moisturizer, and a neck cream, and a mask. Right? And so that's 6 that I've counted. But that's old school thinking. And that was thinking still does apply to retailers. Like if you're going to go on a traditional retail shelf, yes, you will need more SKUs. But if you're going to sell direct to consumers from your own website or even on Amazon or even on Instagram or social media, the new way of creating products is limiting your SKU offerings. So I like to give the example of Sand and Sky or Glam Glow. And of course, this doesn't apply to every category, right? If you're in color cosmetics, of course, you're going to bring out multiple different SKUs and different colors. But you may just do one type of product instead of doing 10 types of products, right? I truly recommend and advise my clients all the time, do not start with more than 3 to 5 products because it takes so much effort to manage. And when you're just learning this business, it's very difficult for a lot of brands to manage all of those different SKUs. But let's talk about the new trends that I'm seeing in the marketplace. So a lot of brands are launching with just one product, right? There's Sand and Sky, there's Coco and Eve, the hair mask, there's Glam Glow, who launched with just one mask many, many years ago, and they've now been purchased. There is nothing wrong with just launching with your hero product, rocking that out for a little while, and then adding on more SKUs, especially if your budget doesn't account for it, or you don't have the time or the skill sets in order to market those correctly too. Because remember, everything that you create, you have to sell. And a lot of times, not only are we learning product development, but we're learning how to be digital marketers. And really that's content creators. And that's something that a lot of us don't think about when we're just starting a brand. We think, oh, we're going to go ahead and create a line and make a lot of money, but you have to learn how to sell your products. And when you have a ton of SKUs, it's actually really difficult to do. But if you just have 1 or 2, it's so much easier to refine your messaging, to work with your customers, to answer their questions easier. So again, this applies really, I think, to every category. Hair care, of course, if you had to launch with just 3 to 5 SKUs, I would come out with my serums, with my lotions, those sorts of things. I would skip the shampoo and conditioners personally. Color cosmetics, again, if you're going to come out with a lip color line, of course you're going to do 3 to 5 SKUs in different colors, but that doesn't mean you need to offer lip gloss, matte lipstick, cream lipstick, and a pencil, right? Unless you want to. But again, it goes back to management. So I see there's a lot of successful brands in the space doing really well with limited amount of SKUs until they get their feet wet. And what I mean by feet wet, usually it's really a lot of success before they add on their SKUs, because it's just a lot to learn how to market, okay? So that's what we need to decide. My suggestion for you guys, if you're trying to decide on how many SKUs you want to start with 3 to 5 max. Even 1 to 2 would be optimal. So let's talk about the different ways you actually get your products created. There's 3 different ways. And many of you guys have heard this. Obviously, I'm a big fan of private label. My business is called Private Label Insider. There's a reason I'm a fan of private label. You can get to market faster, right? That's the first thing. You can get to market faster. There's really, the lab has already tested it all. All you have to do is change your packaging and make it look unique. That's why I'm a big fan of private label. But there's 3 different ways. Let's talk about all of them. Private label is literally taking a lab's already created, already tested formula and putting your label on it. In the UK, they call that white labeling. Here in the States, they call that private labeling. Just for clarification, because I know I've got a pretty big UK audience. Private label for me as a beauty product developer is the fastest way to get to market. It's the easiest way to do a line extension. It's the safest way to know that a product is safe for your consumer and that it's not going to expire, it's not going to grow mold, like those sorts of things. Now, I understand that a lot of people want to do custom formulation because they want something unique. So if you have been making your products, right, or you have this wish list or this idea of products that you really want to see on the marketplace, then we're going to do custom formulation. And custom formulation is really simply just working with either a private cosmetic chemist or an R&D lab with a manufacturer and creating your own custom formulation. That can take a little bit longer. The cost and the time involved is significant. It's 6 to 9 months, sometimes a year, depending on the kind of stability testing that needs to happen, including stability with packaging and the formulation. And there's a lot of revisions that happen in between that time with custom formulation, but a lot of brands will want to start with custom formulation. And if that's you, I would suggest that you do at least one product custom and consider rounding out that line with private label. The other thing people do is often is they make their own products at home. And I hear this a lot. People will say, well, I make my own products at home. How big of a business can I grow? And really, making your own products at home is a really good way to get started and can grow into a large business. And the reason is that you control your manufacturing time, your inventory, and your scaling, right? So when you're making your own products at home, you're able to decide, you know what, I really want to try this new trend, and you don't have to wait on an R&D lab, or you don't have to wait on a lab to get back to you. You have more control over that. Where people get stuck with making their own products at home is oftentimes they either love making their own products or they love testing products, but they don't love selling. And so, or sometimes they're good at both. They'll make their own products and they're really good at selling. And then they run into, I can't keep up demand and don't know how to service everybody. So what they eventually have to do is basically set up their own mini manufacturing plant in their house. Now, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Everybody does a different way. Some people mix and match. Some people just do straight private label. Some people do custom. Some people continue to make their products at home, or they outgrow their self and they take it to a manufacturer. There's no right or wrong way. Just make sure that you choose the way that's best for you. Let's move on. Let's see. All right. So let's talk about creating your launch plan, right? So the whole thing is, how do you decide on what type of products that you want to start with? Again, I'm going to suggest that you pick a category. So we're going to do hair, skin, makeup, body care, but pick one. You'd be very surprised at how many people have lots of ideas and can't decide. My strong advice is always to say, go with the thing that you're most passionate about, because it takes a lot of energy to go through the product development process and then sell the product over and over again. You have to get excited about, you know, the latest makeup trends. You have to get excited about the latest hair trends. Like, you have to want to do that. So a lot of times people will come to me and they'll say, I really want to do a hair care line. I do my hair, I'm known for my hair, but I think I'm going to start with skincare because it's got a better margin, and then I'll do the hair care line once we get started. And I always say the same thing. I always tell them, like, you can do that, but you're not going to want to sell that skincare long term. You might as well start with the thing that you love and then move it out. So let's create this plan. This is how I would do it. If money is tight or you don't have a large budget, and realistically you need a budget of $3,000 to $5,000 to get started, you'll want to create a plan to launch 1 or 2 SKUs. Or 1 or 2 products. That's all I'm asking for. You create that 1 or 2 products, and then you can go and roll out the rest of them. So what you do is you start with your category, and let's say we're going to start our line. So we'll give you a couple examples. We'll start with skincare because tomorrow's class is skincare. So the skincare, let's say you decide, I want to start a skincare line. So we're going to start with, one, what kind of problem are we solving in the marketplace? Usually that's going to be like dark circles or fine lines or large pores or something like that. And then we're going to write down, well, what kind of products solve that problem, right? Oftentimes that'll be a mask, that'll be an eye serum, that'll be a cream or a neck product. And we'll start launching with those products. I personally prefer to launch with treatment type products for eyes or pores or something like that, because they have better margins in them. Then I prefer to start with a cleanser or a toner or something like that. If I was going to build a line out, when I build a line out in skincare, it usually looks something like a serum, a moisturizer, a mask, and an eye treatment. The cleanser and the toner to me are last, if the client still has a budget for it. So that's kind of how I get started with that. You really want to make sure, though, that you focus on doing those lines. And if you don't have the budget, to do all of them, you'll want to start with the top 1 or 2 of that, right? And I write this down. And then that way, the reason I write this down is that once you have that launch plan, you can get it out of your mind and go get to work on focusing on developing those products, because it's a lot more work than it looks like. So write those things down, start with those 1 to 2. So going back to our skincare example, if I was going to do a skincare line, and let's say I decided I wanted to treat dark circles, right? And I wanted to be known as like the dark circle queen. Maybe I would create 2 different eye products. Maybe it's going to be an eye product for dark circles, something that brightens and lightens, and then something for crow's feet, right? So that's something that I would just focus on and dig really deep down that. Once I've just identified the product, then the next step, of course, is to start calling your manufacturers. Now, the thing about calling manufacturers, and this is something that I tell all of my clients, I have a script for this in the inner circle, because this is something where they get lost a lot. The manufacturing space, like the beauty world, is not like a traditional customer service oriented business where you assume as a customer, you're going to call, they're going to call you back. That's not how it goes. I mean, it should how it goes. And some labs do a great job. In some labs, they don't call you back unless you beg them to. So when I call a manufacturer, when I start researching, I've already got a couple things in mind. I know the type of product that I want. I know the retail price point that I want it at. I know the cost of goods that I want to pay for it, right? I know the cost of goods. So it's all really simple math. And so then once I go and I make that initial contact with the lab, I'll say, hey, I'm looking for an eye cream that's going to be in a 1/2 ounce. We'll provide our own packaging. And I need it to be, you know, this is our price range. And when I do that, that cuts, one, the manufacturer is very clear on what I need. Two, they see that I'm serious and know the industry, and there's not a lot of education on their side of it. And three, they're able to get me what I need faster. So being really clear and having that launch plan will make you much more efficient when you're working with labs, okay? And then the other thing is you want to give yourself a time frame. So I was talking to a client today, she's like, oh, I want to launch in December, but she hasn't done any of the work to get to that launch in December. And in theory, yes, you could call a private label lab and get a product out in December. Maybe a lot of them are shutting down already as far as last orders for this year, but you have to give yourself that time frame. So traditionally, when you're launching a line in production, private label is 4 to 6 weeks on that first order. That's assuming you have your logo together and your artwork and all those little details laid out, right? Custom manufacturing, though, however, takes 6 to 9 months. And that's something that surprises people. They often think that they can call a lab and get a product out in 30 days, but you have to actually give yourself that space and that time to do that. So a lot of people, this is what we call in our industry miracle season, because right now we're trying to get products out for Black Friday, right? But a lot of labs are sending out notice like, hey, if you don't have your order in by X date, you're not going to get product out for this year. And that's how the industry works. So I want you guys to make a plan like, all right, maybe I missed Black Friday this year, or maybe, but I want to launch in February. So what do I need to do backing out to do that? So that's something that you guys can start and include that in your launch plan when you're getting ready to launch. All right. So I'm going to give you homework if you pay attention and follow me at all, because deadlines matter. So here's what I want you to do. If you're in the beginning stages and you are just looking to create your own product, I want you to go create your own launch plan, right? You can go back and review the slides, but that launch plan is going to include the type of products you want to make, right? The category that you want to be in, that's skin, hair care, makeup, body, lips, whatever that is, the type of products that you want to be in that category. So if you're going to be in color cosmetics, are you doing an eye product and a lip care line? Are you doing a pencil? Like, what is that? And then write out how you're going to launch out. Are you doing private label or are you going to do custom manufacturing? And then make those calls to those manufacturers so you can start the process of creating your own product. So hope that was helpful. I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and put in the comments for me. If you're watching the replay, put replay and let me know what you're going to launch with and when you're going to launch. All right. So I'll be back tomorrow, and also through the weekend, we're going to be teaching on how to do a skincare line, a hair care, and a makeup line. So if you're brand new to the industry, you came at a good time because you're about to get some amazing trainings. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And then you can always watch the replay. If you have any questions, tag me in the group and I will come in and answer them. All right, have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.